Bill Platt here, and I've got a very, very important question for you today, and that is, if you are not going to stand up for your books and tell people that they should buy them, who will? That's the deal. A lot of people when I talk when I talk to other authors, they tell me they don't want to be promoting their book. That's just it seems slimy to do so or whatever. And then you ask them, well, how do you think books become successful? Well, somebody discovers the book and then shares it with the world, and then I don't have to do anything because somebody else does that for me. And the reality is, who is going to do that for you? If they, and the thing is, a lot of us, there's like seed capital. With investing, a business owner is looking for seed capital to start his business with, and so he needs somebody to invest in his business and provide some cash so that he can develop his business. And as a book author, that seed capital that we need is to get it out to people who have the opportunity to share it with the world. And if you're not willing to do that, who's going to do it for you? Really, honestly. So, with our seed capital in book publishing, we can write the book and do an awesome job with the book and put a great cover on it and put a good description on it and throw it on Amazon. But how is anybody going to know that our book exists? Sure, if we wait for people to discover us on Amazon, Amazon's a powerful platform, yes. But Amazon promotes things that make them money. They don't promote stuff that doesn't have a track record of sales behind it. So when you put it up on Amazon, it's just a page on the internet. There's no one. People are going to find that page, and they might find it in trickles. 2 or 3 people a month will find the page, and so you got 2 or 3 opportunities a month to actually sell your book, and then maybe those 3 people don't buy. And if you look at the standard averages on sales copy conversion, with hot traffic, people who are pre-qualified to purchase what we're selling, 10 to 20% is about average. If you go with cold traffic, 4% is awesome. And it really breaks down. The 4% is really in warm traffic. They know something about you. They might know something about your topic, but they're not necessarily sold on your book. And then the reality is, when you break it down and look at the real numbers, and this is one of the things I had troubles with when I was first getting started in business online, is I wanted to know what the standard rate of conversion is. What should I expect? How many people should buy for however many people are hitting my webpage? And it's really an impossible question to answer, except in certain circumstances. Like I'm telling you, the 10 to 20%, that's based on if I've got a product and affiliates are promoting that product for me. So the affiliate already has an audience, and they know enough about my product to tell their audience about my product. On those kind of promotions, 10 to 20% is average. And then sometimes a sub-average offer will do 7 or 8%. But then when you're dealing with somebody who might like the topic that you're dealing with, but they didn't have an affiliate tell them about that, so they don't have the social proof of somebody saying this is a great product and you should buy it. They just stumbled into the web page, and for that you can expect 1 to 4%. Now, if they're not even, and in a lot of cases, when we look back at straight cold traffic is just people who found your book, not even sure if they like your topic and your genre or you as an author or anything like that. Your conversion rates usually drop into the 1 sale per 1,000 visitors. So we're talking about 0.1% sales conversion on a standard book. So if you don't promote your book And the trick to getting the first sale is now you can either have your warm traffic, your friends and family, and they want to support your endeavor. So you can expect those to convert a little bit better. But once strangers start hitting your book listing page, if it drops off to 1 in 1,000 will make a purchase, then what you're running into is if you just let Amazon direct traffic to your page and 2 or 3 people are finding your page per month, break that down, it's going to be 10 years before you get your first sale, okay? So you don't really want to put yourself in that position where you have to pray for sales. When you say that, well, I don't want to promote my book because it looks sleazy. Well, the reverse side of that, and you don't have to look sleazy when you're promoting your books. I'm just telling you that that's what most people's perception of the process is like. But if you know what you're doing, it's not sleazy in how you approach it. And this is what I talk about a lot in a lot of my videos, is we got to reverse it, because you don't need to sell your book. You need to let people buy your book, okay? But that's a different discussion. But if you are not willing to let people, the point I was trying to make is, if you're going to convert 1 in 1,000, you need to get to 1,000 visitors really fast. And that's the way I look at it. If I want to get more sales, I need to get more people looking at my sales page. And in order for me to get more people looking at my sales page, I need to drop more links on the internet that will enable people to click through and read my sales page, okay? So if I wait for Amazon to bring that traffic, I might be waiting a whole long time. But if I take active action that's going to encourage people to visit my sales page, then I can get to 1,000 people a lot more quickly and get that sale, okay? And I spend a lot of my time on trying to improve that conversion. Let's say that 1 in 1,000 is average. And it probably is for a lot of products online. A lot of books, a lot of listings, whatever. But my goal is to improve my sales copy so I can get that number up. Instead of being 1 in 1,000, I'd like to get to 1 in 100. So then, once I get to the 1 in 100 factor, then when I drop 10,000 or 1,000 people on my sales page, then I get 10 sales, right? So it's a tenfold increase in sales just because I made the one little change, which is my book description. So I want to maximize the power of my book description by writing something that's actually going to help people make a decision in favor of buying my book. But it still comes down to traffic. You can have the best converting page on the planet, but if nobody's seeing the page, it doesn't matter. So we need to take steps to get people to our book listing. Whether it's in social media, it be Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, on your own blog, on third-party blogs where you do like a guest posting or whatever the case may be, or you get an article posted in a newsletter and there's a link to your book from there, or you do Facebook paid ads, or you do Google paid ads, or whatever the case is. Somehow we got to get traffic to our book listing. And if we're converting 1 in 1,000, we need 1,000 people there to get one sale. If we're doing 1 in 100 conversion, then we need to get 100 there, 100 to our page for one sale. And that's where the seed money comes in, or the seed capital comes in. And I'm not looking at it in terms of straight money. I'm looking at it in terms of capital. If you want to get on the radar for Amazon to promote your book, you need to get a lot of traffic through there, through your book listing page, so more people can buy it, because Amazon's not going to promote it until you trigger enough sales internally for your book. So, like in my case, I did one book where it actually went bestseller status. I hit 444 in the Amazon paid Kindle store. And that particular book, I managed to push a whole lot of sales through to the book in a single afternoon, in a single day actually, and sold like 500 units on day one. So once I sold 500 units on day one, then here comes the massive power of Amazon right behind. And then they sold the next 500 books uh, over the next 24 hours. And then they sold another 500 books over the next 30 days. So with that particular book, it was a small audience book. It was really small genre. It wasn't like romance, which is a huge genre. But in my case, it was a small genre. And I was able to push 1,500 sales through the first month. And I drove the first 500 sales. So, and that was done through email, if you would like to know. It was done through email for people who liked buying my type of book. And so, if you, and I've got friends who test this theory. It's not just theory, it's actual fact. Amazon promotes books that are going to make them money. And the lowest, and we've tested it with like dozens of books, and about the lowest number of books we can sell to trigger and fire up the Amazon algorithm is about 100 to 150 books. And a buddy of mine swears it's actually as low as 75 books. So let's say my buddy's right. We only need to sell the first 75 books. And if your conversion is 1 out of 100, then you need to get 7,500 people on that sales page in short order. Okay? And if you're doing 10%, you only need to get 750 people on the sales page in short order. Okay? But you have to fire up those initial sales so that Amazon can realize that, hey, this book will make us money if we only promote it. So that's where the seed money comes in, or the seed capital. And we're not doing it, we're not necessarily spending money to achieve that. In fact, a lot of the things we do can be done for free if we dedicate the time and the effort to make sure it comes through. And one of the ways we can do that is through social media posts that go viral. And I spent a lot of time studying stuff like that. Clickbank, or clickbait, is something I find interesting. But see, the problem with clickbait, and most people know what that is, it's something that's designed to get you to click a link. And where most clickbait fails is that they have tested their headlines and they know what is going to get the click, but the headline doesn't represent the content on the page. So what happens is people will click it, but then they get to the page that they're directed to, and they're disappointed with the result. So for a lot of people, clickbait pisses them off, and rightfully so, because the headline said this and the article says this. There's no connection between the two. But if you understand the concepts behind clickbait, and you can make sure that your clickbait headline matches the content on your page, then people are going to be more happy with you, right? So I like the concept of clickbait, but delivery of it isn't. You have to be careful when you do it. You don't want to make promises you can't keep. So therefore, when you set up your clickbait headline, then you get the clicks, but make sure you can deliver, right? Okay? So the key to the clickbait, there's actually two keys to clickbait. And it's a either or. It doesn't have to be both. It can be one or the other. But a clickbait headline has one of two things going for it. Either it's a list of items, 15 reasons why your boyfriend doesn't like you anymore, right? Or 36 ways to lose weight this summer. Or 12 ways to save money. So that's one type of clickbait. The other way is the one that gets people fired up more emotionally, and that is the open loop. So what open loop is it presents a statement but doesn't finish the statement. And like if I said, you'll be amazed at what this guy does. He does this. that's a closed loop. But if I say, you'll be amazed at what this guy does, that's an open loop because it hasn't told you what he does, right? So that's the way clickbait works. And so if you say, you'll be amazed at what you find inside this book, well, that's kind of a clickbait headline. Or you'll be blown away by what you see on page 6 of this book. Again, that's a clickbait headline. And the clickbait can be used to drive traffic to our books. But our books have to deliver on that headline. And that's the important thing. Most people who use clickbait don't make sure that the article or the book delivers on the promise. You're making a promise to a reader. Now you have to deliver on that promise. So when you do clickbait headlines, if you use clickbait in social media to drive traffic to your book, make damn sure that your book's going to deliver on that promise, okay? But that's something we could do. And I'm intrigued by the concept of using clickbait to drive traffic to our books. And I'm doing some testing on that in the next month or so. And maybe I'll have some great news for you in the long run. But it really comes down to good clickbait is one that makes a promise and delivers on a promise. Bad clickbait is one that makes a promise and doesn't deliver on a promise. And, using images is one way to use clickbait too. And the ones that really piss me off are the ones that, there's one I clicked on here a while back, and it had the guy from, I'm so terrible with the pawn in Las Vegas. I can't remember the name of it, but the Pawn Kings or whatever. But anyway, they got the grandpa, the son, and the grandson, and then the friend, and I can't remember the friend's name right now. But they said they have a picture of him, and it says, this celebrity died and nobody knew. And I clicked on it because I didn't know he had died. Well, guess what? He didn't die. It was deceptive. Deceptive clickbait. And so we don't want to do things like that. But we want to deliver on the promises. We want our clickbait, however we structure it, we want it to not only entice the click, but also deliver on the promise. Okay? So that's what's important about clickbait. If you do it well, it can be a very powerful tool in your arsenal. But the thing of it is, we need to get people from social media to our book listing on Amazon ready to buy. And that's one way we can do it. But the bottom line is, if we want to get one book sale, worst case scenario, the worst sales copy in the world, if we want to get one sale, we need to get 1,000 people on that book listing page. If we're really good, we can get 100 people on that page to get one sale. So if we want one sale for our book, we need to get at least 100 people there. If we want 75, we need 75 sales to trigger the Amazon algorithm. We need to get about 7,500 people on that page. Okay? And suppose we're firing on all cylinders and we're getting one sale for every 10 visitors to our webpage, then we need 750 visitors to the book listing page in order to get 75 sales, in order to fire the Amazon algorithm. Okay? I hope that makes sense, but it comes down to this, and this is the main point of this video. When I started this video, I said, if you don't stand up for your book, who will? And most people are just waiting for somebody to come along and stand up for their book, and they're not out there. And the reality of it is, if you can drive those sales, okay, and you can hit that 75, then Amazon will do the promotion for you. And be it 75 or 100, Amazon will do that promotion for you. But if if you're waiting for somebody with an audience to find your book, if you just leave it to the gods, maybe somebody will come along and find your book and tell their audience, and maybe the people with an audience will never find you at all. And that's why it comes down to luck for so many authors. And for me, let's reverse that. Let's put our book in front of the people who have an audience. Okay? And that's what I've done with my business going back to 2001. That's why I got into article marketing in 2001, because it struck me. It's just one of those ideas that went off my head. That instead of trying to talk to 10 people at a time, why don't I talk to 10 influencers at a time? So I was writing articles and sending them over to people who already had an audience. And in some cases they had an audience of 20,000 people. In some cases they had an audience of 500 people. In some cases they had an audience of 100,000 people. And I was writing articles to that I knew that they would want to publish in front of their audience. I was writing it up in exactly the way the editor wanted those articles produced, and then I'd present the article to the influencer, and if they liked my article, they would publish it in their newsletter. And if they published it in their newsletter, I was reaching 100,000 people in one shot, right? And I've done several articles. There are several publishers for years who published my work, who some of them only had 500 people on the other side of their mailing list, and some only had 1,000 people, but there were others, 750,000, 1.25 million people, right? And when you can get in front of audiences of that size, it can make a significant impact on your book sales. So, thank you very much. My name is Bill Platt, and if you go to BillPlattForAuthors.com, you can sign up for my mailing list. I send out a lot of free info. And if you like videos like this one, click on the subscribe button down below here in YouTube. And YouTube will notify you when I have new videos available. So thank you very much. My name is Bill Platt. Have a great day.